Hello everyone, Catweazle here, and welcome to our playthrough of Darkest Night, Turn 1. Okay, so here we are, all set up to go. The heroes will be going first, and what we have, on the back of each player mat, for example, here's the nymph, we have a handy cheat sheet for the hero turn, so let's have a quick look at it. In any order, each hero takes a turn. Hence, we have those little tokens with the sun on one side and the moon on another. If a Necromancer is present, we'll lose a secrecy. Well, the Necromancer's in the ruins, so we're fine. We'd lose one secrecy if we were carrying a Holy Relic. Well, we haven't got the Holy Relic. We resolve start of turn instructions on power cards. Well, none of our power cards have a start of turn instruction. Event. Skip this step in the Monastery. Well, we're all in the Monastery, so we will skip the event for everybody, so we'll go right past that. Next up, we perform an action of our choice. So what are the actions we can perform? Well, here they are on the other side of the card. Everyone will be travelling this turn because we're all in the Monastery, but let's go through them all. If you travel, you'd gain 1 secrecy up to 5. Everybody's got at least 5 secrecy at the moment, so that won't apply, but we can still move. Hide. Refresh powers and gain 1 secrecy, up to 5. Well, nobody needs any powers refreshing, and we've all got at least 5 secrecy, so not much use us doing that. Attack. We can fight a blight of the Necromancer to try and destroy it and lose 1 secrecy. Well, we haven't got any blights at our location, the Necromancer isn't there, so we can't attack. Search. Roll against search difficulty, draw 1 map card per success. So we then choose one for wherever the location is. Well, you can't search at the Monastery, so that's out. We could pray at the Monastery. We are at the Monastery. We'd roll 2 dice and gain 1 grace up to default for each 3+, and we could refresh our powers. But everybody's at least at default grace, and we've got no powers to refresh, so we're not going to do that either. We could use a retrieve a Holy Relic by discarding 3 keys to take a Holy Relic from the location, except obviously we'd need the clues. We'd need 10 clues to do that. We'd need to be at a Holy Relic's location, and we're not, so we can't do that. Power. So we could use an action power effect from a power card. For example, the Knight could use Hard Ride. Her action is to move twice, but gain no secrecy. But she's not going to do that, but she could do. All we're going to do is everybody's going to travel. They're not going to get a secrecy, but they will be able to travel to a different location. So let's crack on with that. So the first person we're going to have move is the Knight, and the Knight is going to go to the village. Now let's just check the blight, which is Stigma. Now what Stigma does is we've got -2 to the default grace. So everybody's default grace is 2 less than it should be, which is a bit of a problem for Rathymnon, because Rathymnon is now at 1 default grace. It still stays at 3, but for the purposes of gameplay, if it says, you know, you can gain grace up to your default, it means you can only get 1, so that's a bit grim. So we could do with getting rid of this. There is no, don't have to defend against it, so she doesn't have to like do a combat. But if she does attack it next turn, which is the plan, she will have to get a 5. If she loses, she would lose 1 grace. But as it stands, it's just like a horrible thing that's hanging over the kingdom, whereby everybody has a default of -2 grace. It affects every single location, this blight. It's in the village, but it's affecting everywhere. So hopefully we'll be able to get rid of that next turn. Right, so who's next? Priorus. Priorus is going to follow the Knight into the village. The reason is Priorus has got quite a high grace, and in order to progress the quest card, somebody needs to lose a grace. So he's there to deal with nightmares. Sort of thing a good self-respecting priest would do. There's a little child having nightmares, he's going to go and visit. So similar to Cassandra, he doesn't have to deal with the stigma. It just means that his default grace is at 4, not at 6. So we'll leave that there. So Priorus and Cassandra have gone. We've flipped their tokens. Now we're going to flip the token of Talon, the rogue. What's Talon going to do? He's going to move down here, because there's a chance of getting a mystery card here. And he's got ambush, so I'm hoping he will eventually be able to get rid of these zombies. But as he's moved here and ended his turn here, it means he's going to have to defend against these zombies. So he can elude them with a 3 or better, or he can actually defend against them with a 5 or better. So elude looks pretty good to me. So because it's a combat, he can use a tactic, and the tactic that he's going to use is he's going to use vanish. So he gets to elude with 2 dice. So we've got 2 dice to get a 3 or better. So, come on, Talon. He gets 2 3s. And that's 2 successes. So if he wasn't at 7 secrecy already, he would have got an extra secrecy. But he is at 7 secrecy. So he's managed to elude the zombies. They're a bit slow, they're staggering around like the Walking Dead. They're not very aware, and he's managed to give them the slip. So he's fine. That's the end of his turn. With Vanish, we don't have to exhaust it or anything. It's just a tactic, so it's still available. Right, last person to go is Rathymnon, the wizard. And he's going to go up to the mountains. We'd like him to get rid of this enigma, if at all possible, because it's making the search difficulty +1, and that, similar to Stigma, is applying to every single location on the board, I think. Yes, it is. So, again, he doesn't have to defend against it like the zombies, so it's just a horrible pall hanging over the kingdom. So, but we will need, if we want to get rid of it, we need to roll a 4 when we attack its might. So hopefully Rathymnon will be able to do that next turn. So that's it. So that's all the movement for our heroes. So what's next? Well, next it's the Necromancer's go. Okay, the Necromancer's go. First thing we do, darkness track goes up to 1. So there we are. It's gone up to 1. And then we've got to roll for movement. So what we've got is a funky green dice to see if the Necromancer's doing any moving. He gets a 1. So first thing you do with that movement dice is you compare it against the secrecy of the other heroes. Now nobody's got a secrecy of less than 1. So he doesn't spot anybody. So we look at the little dice symbols round here for the ruins, and there's a 1, so it means that the Necromancer moves across to the forest. So he hasn't spotted the rogue yet. The rogue used Vanish anyway, he's hidden, and the Necromancer and the zombies haven't spotted him. But what does happen, because the Necromancer has moved to the forest, he creates a blight there. Because that's what the Necromancer does. He creates blights. So we've got to see what blight he's going to create. So that means we draw a map card. Flip it over. Upside down as normal. Look down to the forest. So there's the forest. And it's a flux cage. So let's grab one of those. So there's one left. There's also one up there at the castle. So let's put it on a stand. So there are now 2 blights in the forest. There's a flux cage and there's zombies. The flux cage Let's have a read. You lose one secrecy entering and leaving this location. And if you want to attack it, you need to get a 6. If you fail, then you will lose a secrecy. So that doesn't affect the rogue at the moment, because the rogue was already there when the blight was created. So that's pretty cool. We're alright as it stands. Okay, so that's the end of the first turn. How's it gone? Not too bad, I don't think. Not too bad. I'll do a short turn review, very similar to what I did with Eldritch. So I'll bob away now and I shall upload this to Lou. Hello everyone, welcome back to the turn review. So what happened last turn? Well, Cassandra, she went to the village where there's a Stigma blight and the Nightmare's quest. She didn't have to deal with the Stigma blight, didn't have to defend against it or anything, so she's going to look to deal with that next turn. So let's turn her back to that. So she's ready to go again. She didn't use any of her powers, so they're all here, all lined up. Then I think Priorus went next. He followed her into the village. Pop him back to ready. He didn't use any of his power cards either, and he didn't have to deal with the blight, didn't have to defend against it, pretty much like Cassandra. Then we had, I think it was Talon who went next. Talon went down to the forest where there were some zombies. So at the end of his turn, he did have to defend, but he chose to elude, and he used Vanish, which is his tactic, and he was able to give them the slip. So that was pretty cool. The last to go was Rathymnon. He went up to the mountains. There was a blight there, the Enigma blight. He didn't have to deal with it. Again, it was just a blight whereby you don't have to defend against it. It just buggers up our searching abilities. So that was all the movement of our heroes. Then the Necromancer moved. He didn't spot anyone. He only got a roll of 1. And that meant he moved from the ruins to the forest, where he dropped another blight, which was a flux cage. So Talon, he's got the Necromancer for company next turn. So what are the plans for next turn? Well, I think the first person to go will be Rathymnon, who's up there in the mountains. What he's going to do is trying to get rid of that Enigma blight. He'll probably use his lightning strike and attack. When he attacks, he'll lose a secrecy, but hopefully he'll be able to take on the Enigma. He'll have to get a 4 or a better. The good thing to have Rathymnon doing this is there's no effect if he's unable to defeat it. So we keep his grace and everything. He will lose a secrecy for attacking, but hopefully he can get rid of that -1 search difficulty, because we do need to search and we need to get clues. So he'll go first. Then I think Talon will go next. Hopefully the Enigma blight will be gone, because what I want Talon to do is I want him to search. He'll lose a secrecy. He'll have lost a secrecy because he's in the same location as the Necromancer. He's not going to try and take any of the blights on just yet. What he's going to do is he is going to search and see if he can get a key. If he gets a key on the map card, then he will be able to draw a mystery card, and hopefully we'll be able to get the clues up and running. So that's what he's going to do. Again, hopefully Rathymnon will have got rid of the Enigma blight, so he will be able to use his eavesdrop as his action and do a search with 2 die. Right, who's going to go next after that? Well, I think it's either Priorus or Cassandra next. I think we'll have Cassandra. Cassandra will try and get rid of this Stigma blight. The reason I want to get rid of that is sending everybody down to a default grace of 2 less. It's not nice, and I'm not comfortable with Rathymnon essentially having a default grace of 1. So I'd like to get rid of that. So she's going to attack that. She's got her charge tactic that she'll hopefully be able to use, and she will be able to roll, I think it's a 5. Yep, she'll roll a 5. She'll lose a secrecy for attacking, hopefully be able to roll a 5 with 2 dice. If she fails, she'll lose a grace, but we do have the priest right next to her, so should be able to help in getting that back. So if she goes first, we'll see how she goes on. Priorus, he's here to deal with the little girl and the nightmares, and what he can do is he can spend one of his grace during his action phase in this location, and we will manage to do it in time. What I forgot to do during the actual gameplay was, as soon as we got back to the end there, I should have put one of these little timers on that quest. So I've put it there now. It's next to the quest. So we've got 1 left. But hopefully during this next turn, Priorus is going to spend that grace, and we are going to stop that quest. He'll get a charm for that, and we won't get the 3 new quest cards, so that's pretty good. In summary, Rathymnon in the mountains, going to try and get rid of Enigma, so our searches are fine. Then Talon the rogue's going to go, he's going to search. Hopefully he's going to find ourselves a key, which means we can pull a mystery card and get some clues and get off and running. Then Cassandra is going to try and defeat this Stigma blight, because we don't want everybody on -2 default grace. And then Priorus is going to go last, and he's going to use his action to progress this Nightmares quest and stop 3 more quests turning up in its place and get a charm. So that's the plans for next turn. Thank you everyone for watching. I hope you enjoyed turn 1 of Darkest Night. Thank you very much for all the subscriptions, for all the views, for all the comments. Any tips you have are welcome, and of course if I've made any boo-boos and mistakes, please do let me know and I'll do my best to fix them. So until next time, this is me, Catweazle, signing off. Toodaloo.